Ann Rainieri. I'm the founder of Word Traveling. It's an online community of faithful adventurers. And I am so glad you're here with us tonight for our very first Google Hangout webinar live chat talk with some of my most amazing friends. We love to bring together faithful adventurers because I believe at the deepest part of my soul that inspire and ignite you to go have amazing adventurers. Jesus said, go. He was an adventurer and a journeyman himself. So I believe that to shine his light, we got to get out there and live in the world and share the world with our kids. So tonight I have some of my best friends from across the world with me. Katie Horner with Como Blog and Paradise Praises is here live from Mexico, but we've got a special surprise about that in a bit. And then two amazing new friends that I've met through Sunshine and Hurricanes. We are talking to you from opposite coasts of the beautiful Sunshine State of Florida. Michelle and Kira are here from Sunshine and Hurricanes. Hey, everybody, say hi.
Hi. Hi. Hello.
And I think everyone loves travel as much as I do, right? Okay, raise your hand if you are a travel junkie, if you would just want to get out there and see the world and do it with your kids in tow, right? But we know that it is challenging and risky, and I just love what you girls, Kira and Michelle, wrote on the Travel Is series this month on Word Traveling about how adventure in, you know, we have that definition of it's an unusual or exciting experience, but it's also bold and risky, and how I believe that that's such an important life skill we need to instill in our children, to be bold and risk takers and adventurers and travel seekers and just in the world to be able to be future leaders. And I think that's what we need. So when you wrote that, it just really resonated with me. And Katie, of course, their family are missionaries in Mexico, so she's like got my heart from the day that we met and the day we got to adventure together in Mexico. And the memories when you take friends on travel with you are just, you just never go back. You never get that time, that energy invested. Those memories stay with you forever. And, you know, our families are still talking about a trip 2.5 years ago now. So, but we know that it's great. And travel's amazing. And yet it's hard. And so we, as traveling adventure moms, want to share some tips and tricks that we have learned along the way to help save you some time, to help save you some stress, and to help save you some money, because those are just important things to do. So anybody want to give it a go? Who's got the first idea of their favorite tip for travel? Let's go through, everybody shares a favorite tip for travel, and then I'll hit my little bullet points.
Well, I'll jump in here. My absolute first one, snacks. Snacks are a necessity. You must not leave house with children without food. So always make sure granola bar, things in packages are great. Granola bars, trail mix, anything like that. You can survive anything as long as you have snacks. But if you don't have snacks, it's going down really fast.
And a variety of snacks, right? Because they never want what you offer them the first time, right?
That's part of the fun for us when we travel, is our kids know that they're going to get special snacks that we don't usually have other times. So it builds up the excitement for what's coming.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Michelle, you want to throw something in there? We got snacks.
Yeah, I like snacks, and I really like sharing our expectations with our kids about what we're going to do and getting them excited. But anytime before we're about to embark on an adventure, whether we're going to board a boat or we're going to go in a museum or do anything, I love to just really clearly outline how fun it's going to be and what I'm expecting out of them while we're there, because I find that I have so many fewer behavior problems when everybody is clear on the expectations to start with.
Oh, that is really good. Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. You know, just if they know what to expect, what mom and dad are thinking, they don't have to read your mind to figure out what are they supposed to do when they get someplace that's new. That's really good. That's really good. Katie, what about you? Other than the special snacks, what else have you got? Either the traveling, you travel more than most people too, so, you know, share.
I agree with the expectations things, but even more than that, the plan. My kids especially, you know, you think surprises are great for kids. Well, it is if it's a toy or a snack. But if it's a plan for the day, a lot of times it's way better to let them know what is coming ahead of time. And my oldest are getting old enough now, 8 and 9, that they like to be involved in the packing. Mm-hmm. And so if I can help, you know, tell everyone ahead of time, well, we're going to do this, and it's going to require this type of clothing, they will help me get it all together. And it makes a family day out of the packing event as well as, you know, the going. And it helps build expectation. It gives them a sense of responsibility for the fun time, too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And even with the snacks, like I can, at this point, Makani's almost 12, and I can say the night before, all right, you got to help me get the cooler snacks, the bags, everything ready to go. Mom's got this, you get that. And so we almost have this team effort of knowing everybody has their role in getting ready for a plane trip or a road trip, whatever the case may be. So that's awesome. And then to go back to snacks and eating, we all know that on a trip, whether it's a day trip or a road trip or a week long, or we just got back from 2 weeks in Hawaii and we're so blessed on that travel, that one of the most expensive things on a trip, on a road trip, day trip, vacation, on a holiday, is the food, is eating. So to save some money, you can completely watch what you eat. Have those sandwiches packed ahead of time for your plane rides, and you don't have to deal with airport food for the day and everybody starting off blowing your budget on the first day. You can use what's that app, Michelle and Kira, that you mentioned, Out to Eat with Kids or something, that when you're gone you can find different restaurants. Is that what it's called?
Yes, I actually was just pulling it out, and that's it. It's called Out to Eat with Kids.
Yeah.
And you can download it, and it gives you places that are close by that have kid-friendly menus. A lot of places that will also give you information on if they do. A lot of restaurants will do, like, if an adult gets an entree, then the kids are free. And so it'll tell you if there are restaurants near you with those kinds of deals. So it's a great lifesaver to find kid-friendly as well as affordable food when you're on the road.
Absolutely. And some people don't know that if you're going to go to a new city, a new town, you can actually look up the Groupons or the Living Social deals in that town, that city, before you even get there, to see if you can find some out-to-eat deals while you're on the road. And another thing that we love to do when we travel to save huge money in out-to-eat is breakfast in the room. So we'll, insist on a refrigerator wherever we stay in a hotel space. We love to travel with vacation accommodations through either vacation rental by owner or Airbnb. We actually are hosts on both of those with a little beach cottage we rent here in South Florida. And when we lived abroad in Europe, we just fell in love with traveling and being able to stay place to place and having your own space, your own kitchen, your own little table. Everybody can kind of come together and feel like you've got a home. So whether it's in a hotel for the evening or the week, or you're in an Airbnb type situation or a vacation rental home, breakfast in the room, even if it's just yogurts and cereal and a gallon of milk or rolls or something that everybody can just have, smoothies, shakes, yogurts in the room, saves a fortune in a family in going out to eat. And even Katie and I came over to Michelle and Kira's Florida SunCon last weekend, and Katie and I stayed, and for the morning of the conference, I'm just so accustomed to it, like we were all right, let's just get yogurts for the next morning for breakfast, and we were in the room, just didn't have to stress to get somewhere super early, and just knew that it was simple, and it also is a money saver, a big money saver. So, and we also love to experience farmers markets and things in different locations where we travel. And if we've got an accommodation with a little kitchenette, we can enjoy, cooking a family meal together, which is one of the special things we do anyway. And then you're building memories with the experience, the cooking together, what you picked out at the market, and just really bringing it all together and saving a ton of money in your dining experiences when you go out. Definitely a huge tip. Everybody agree? Huge tip in saving money is all about the snacks and the food, right?
Absolutely.
Everybody goes there first.
Well, I think a lot of people are afraid, like they might look at accommodations that have the in-room kitchenette, and sometimes the accommodations are a little more expensive, but when you really, especially if you're going for several days or even a whole week, if you think about what you will save in dining out, oftentimes it more than pays for the extra in the room and then some. So we do that anytime we can. We look for places that have in-room kitchenettes so that we can do definitely breakfast in the room, and if we can, even a couple other meals.
Absolutely. And even sometimes you can go on Priceline Negotiator and try to put that in as some of your requirements for a room. Find a last-minute deal. Sometimes I get a little risky and wait till the very last minute to book accommodations because I know there's something going to be there. Unless there's a huge event happening, something will be available. And I love to work with Vacation Rental by Owner and Airbnb toward the last minute, because if you find something that's available in a vacation-type home or a studio suite or something that's available that would accommodate your family, and it's sitting open and available a week before, 4 nights before you go, chances are willing to really negotiate their price because they'd rather have someone in it renting it than it to sit empty. We always say, 50% of something is greater than 0% of nothing. And so often you can get a fantastic deal on accommodations just by being bold and asking for it. We're financial peace coaches. My husband and I are Dave Ramsey fans. Praise God. We pulled out of over $100,000 in commercial debt. Lots of it accumulated by travel years ago. And so through that process, we've really learned to budget and not to be afraid to ask for a deal and to negotiate, because there is always better. That's not quite good enough, as Dave will say. And I go back to one of my best bargains ever was when we were living abroad in Europe in 2004, and we were really on telling you shoestring. Like, I'm in the middle of writing the book about it. The story was so incredible. I look back and have to pinch myself. But at this one point, we literally had no idea where we were going in Italy. We were leaving the country of France, and we had a month, and we did not know where we were going. We had a baby in tow. We just knew we were going to drive, and we were going to get there, and the Lord would take care of us. And so I reached out to what's called the Agriturismo Board. It's like Airbnb in the country of Italy, and said, look, we've got 500 euros for the month. Would somebody accommodate us? And I had, and that's like insane. That's like saying I've got $750 for a month for a vacation rental for a family. And I had maybe a dozen responses saying, yes, we have an availability last minute, and we got to pick and choose, and we ended up in the most luxurious villa in Tuscany with a huge infinity pool and right in the middle of the vineyards, and the sun sets every day. In fact, the photo behind me, I didn't even think about it till right now, is one of the images that I shot in the vineyards in Tuscany while we were there. That it just was surreal, and even more surreal was the price that we paid. Just unheard of. But I never would have known if I hadn't asked. You never know what you can get, right? Mm-hmm. And exactly. Come on, mamas, we love a bargain, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that's another great tip. Never be afraid to ask for an upgrade. I don't know how many times at Disney World or at any hotel that I'll ask for an upgraded room. So whether it's a view or any extra amenities like that, generally if that room is sitting there, empty, they're more than happy to do that, to keep you as a happy, satisfied client.
Exactly.
So never be afraid to ask for an upgrade at a hotel.
Absolutely. Great tip. You never know what they've got sitting open and what they would share with you. And back to the story of the Dave Ramsey, right? So the number one tip that I can give anybody is you've got to make a travel budget part of your monthly bills, your monthly budget, your travel kitty, your travel budget. It is a non-negotiable. You have to put money aside to be able to afford travel, which means you have to make choices and sacrifices in other things along the way, like excess cable television, sometimes extracurricular activities. I know homeschool families that are constantly buying and spending thousands of dollars on new curriculums. I mean, Can you make do? Can you share? Can you buy something used? There's all kinds of ways that depend on your budget. How can you adjust to be able to make room for travel and for what's really important? I know me, I started couponing with my groceries years ago to help pull out of debt, and now I take my savings from groceries and set it aside, and we will never be in a place where travel's not important and very important to us, that we're just gradually putting that money aside every month, so when we want to go, there's money and we can go. If it's something last minute or if it's a bigger long-term plan, those things all along the way will help. So who wants to chime in on the budgeting factor?
Absolutely. I think that, and honestly, I'm not sure if it's Dave Ramsey who also suggests this, but a lot of people think pay yourselves first or don't think about pay yourselves first. And we've found that when we automatically schedule certain payments to come out of our monthly budget and just immediately go into a savings account, we don't even miss them. If it's in there, it's easy to spend it here on a latte at Starbucks or there, and you just lose track of those little expenditures. But when we just pull it out right at the beginning and we know that we have a set amount every month that goes towards travel or other things in our budget line items, that has really been a key for us. And then we also joke about found money. Anytime that we get, an unexpected rebate, or if I have coupons, like you said, or, I'm smart, and sometimes coupons, 20% off if you're going to go buy a big ticket item can be a lot of money. And so then we take that money and then we put it aside. And so we call it that kind of found money. And instead of letting it just, sit in the bank account and get spent without really thinking about it, we immediately move that out of the bank account and kind of stick that in. And then we end up with more money than you might think.
Absolutely.
I think another thing that has really worked for us is that we have really tried to downsize the amount of things that we have as a family, and have really encouraged our extended family and relatives to gift our children with more gift cards, even for restaurants, sometimes chains. If you're going to be traveling, we hang out in a certain area of North Carolina every year, so we know we make this road trip. So it's been really convenient for my kids or my in-laws when they're going to gift my husband and I to give that gift of experiences over things that's more valuable to us. No one remembers what they got for Christmas 2 years ago, but they remember the trip we went on 2 years ago.
They do.
And so that has really been good for us. And my husband and I, sometimes we have that extra money because we're not the world's best savers. We'll buy gas cards with it because we know in the summer when we're on that trip, we're going to need those gas cards. We're going to need these things like that. So that has also been a way for us to kind of put aside here and there to keep it towards that.
Absolutely. And that's one of my favorite quotes that we came up with while we were in Europe, because we were on I'm telling you, shoestring. It was all about memories, not memorabilia. It was the stuff that we were going to remember, and the thoughts and the processes and the experiences for our lives, but not the stuff that we were going to take along. And now I just wrote a post on it. I think it's day 1 of the series, Travel is Possible, where I talked about my youngest, 7, like the week before we went to Hawaii. He was like, he'd been saving. He'd set a goal. We were going to be there 14 days. He had made it a 3-month goal that he was going to save enough to have $10 a day for 14 days and have his money. And about the week before, he was like, I think I'm going to have a little garage sale so I can, get a few more dollars to spend in Hawaii. And he set up a little lemonade stand and made an extra 10 or 20 bucks, in the front yard. But you could just see the process even, and them starting to think about what would they spend their money on. Did they want to bring gifts for their friends? And it was not out of our budget because it was something that they had been a process of too. So not only are you talking about travel, these are critical life skills that we need to teach our children. And if you can do them through travel as an experience and an education, it's the best. It is the best of both worlds. It is the best of this world, I believe, for sure. Kira, Katie, you've got anything to add on that one?
I was going to piggyback on what Kira said about taking things out at the beginning of the month. The other thing to do is to set aside anything you have left over from what you've budgeted other places. And I know in Mexico we have a coin that's like a $50 size in the U.S., and that coin is worth 10 pesos, which used to be exactly a dollar. It's a lot less now, but that is the biggest coin that they have at the moment in circulation. And so whenever we find our pockets heavy or our purse heavy with those coins, we'll put them aside, and we call that our love fund. And so it gets to be a competition on kind of, well, I put money in the love fund today, did you? And then we save that up to be the basis of when we start looking for our anniversary trip every year. Okay, we've got this much set aside. Where can we go, or what can we do with this?
Right.
And that's been kind of a fun thing that helps us, even with with relationships and marriage-wise, to be able to look forward to that time together all year long as we're saving those 10 pesos.
That's awesome. It's just little bits all along the way really do add up, I have friends that they have a huge family jar, like one of those big Costco-sized pretzel jars. And when the kids get birthday money, they add to it. They usually take a picture of where they want to go, and they put it on the outside of the jar. And it makes everybody just more excited, I think, to add to the fund. And they've, traveled the world on extra money. And then she's got 3 older boys. I think her youngest now is 10 and her oldest is 15. And so they've become part of this family saving for the adventure and the next adventure. So yeah, those are awesome money saving tips. Literally save your money so that you can take it apart. And then when you go, by all means, spend it, enjoy it, budget through your trip. And I always talk about, being generous on your trip. People in the tourism and hospitality industry, they rely on us as travelers and tourists to support their families. So, be generous, be kind, be great tippers. Just, think about that even while you're going out and you're budgeting your travel, that you don't forget about those who are there to serve you and that's their livelihood as well. This Travel Is series talks a lot about the economy and how economies are boosted in America, but all over the world, through travel and jobs created and all that. So especially when we're traveling in the U.S., be generous, be of that mindset where you want to just give and show that to not only to the servers or the staff, but to your children, to your family, that there is a mentality of generosity in your family. And back to traveling in the U.S., one of my favorite things to do is to pretend like we are on vacation while we're home. Fancy term for that? Staycation. Staycation, all I ever wanted. Right? Come on, Michelle, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's be hometown tourists. I mean, seriously, right? And there are so many incredible activities in our own backyards that sometimes we just get so busy and forget the resources that are all around us. Maybe it's in our direct backyard, maybe it's a couple hours away, but let's just pour into where you live in your community and spreading some of that, tourism mentality right where you are. And call the local convention and visitors bureau where you live and get some great ideas of travel with a family. They'll even know specials and things happening in your own neighborhoods and maybe some secrets you didn't even know about. Use those resources that are in your community just to find out some incredible things you can do right in your own backyard,
Our family has moved a couple of times in the last several years, and if you think about it as if we only had 6 months left before we had to move across the country, what would we want to do here where we are now, because we may never be able to bring the family back here and do this again.
Yeah.
And so if you start thinking about where you live with that perspective, there's probably a lot of stuff right close to home that you've never done that would be a very great experience for your family, or even educational. You think homeschool field trips or things like that. What is it that, if I had to move away tomorrow, what would I wish we had done while we were here?
Yeah, like Kira, you talked about driving just today, right? You had a staycation today, didn't you?
Well, I'm not sure if I would call it a staycation, as it was a field trip. But yes, living in Florida, I mean, seriously, I've seen like 365 days, and you could do 365,000 days of Florida. And so yes, just today, just 2.5 hours from our home, we went up into Tampa, and it was my children's school had a field trip up to the Museum of Science and Industry in Tampa.
Love the Mosey. I love it.
The Mosey. We loved it, and we saw IMAX with pandas, and we walked on the moon, and it was a blast. But I mean, Michelle and I have we have started a travel series, and so much so far has been just in Florida alone. And Michelle's lived here much longer. I've only been in Florida about 6 years, but I couldn't even believe, because one of them, she's right. I'm like, what are you talking about? I've never even heard of this place, this Weeki Wachee, whatever, and they have mermaids. And I was like, this is crazy town. So I'm totally not kidding. She and I are road tripping there this summer with our kids, because I want to go.
I think we should meet there halfway.
Absolutely.
Right? Totally.
I was like, how can there be mermaids in Florida and I don't know about this?
Yeah.
I actually have a horror story about Weeki Wachee. When I was young, I'll write about it all the time. Like, I did not have a permanent home until I was in 3rd grade. My family traveled half the year. They didn't call it RVing back in the 70s, nor did they call it homeschool. But I was learning on the road with my family in our motor home, and we were out on the road, and we were snowbirds. My dad was a golf pro, and so we headed south to Florida or Texas or California, wherever it was warm in the winters, so my dad could golf. And one year we came to Florida. My mother still tells the story of me being terrified, not of beautiful mermaids at Weeki Wachee, but of like some witch doctor that came out of the background in the mermaid show, and I'm like 2 years old, and this thing scared me. Here, Luke, he's going to tell you how come he loves to travel. Here's Luke. Here's my traveling adventurer. Okay, go. So, real life travel on the road, but I am committed to getting back to Weeki Wachee to see the mermaids in a better life than that.
Let's go. We'll plan it.
I think so. Halfway, we got to do it. And that's a great point, Katie, just about saying, like, if you had to move, what would you want to do? Just really seizing the day and your community and your town, and saying, wow, we live in paradise, especially us in Florida. But everybody has paradise around them within a couple of neglect sometimes our national parks, our state parks, the places that are just affordable, but yet, they take some planning and preparation to get there, and they really take unplugging and being committed to the adventure as a family, and just saying, we're going to go, and we're going to take the day off. We're going to use that personal time off from work. One of the statistics through the Travel Is series that I did talked about the crazy amount of unused personal time off. Yes, this is real life around my house. I tried to shut the door for half an hour.
I'm not looking for a charger. It's fine.
And anyway, and so use those personal time off times and get through it. So, hi, Luke. I'll be with you in 5 minutes. Okay, we're just wrapping up.
Another thing you can do. Sometimes travel is about the family time and the change from your routine just as much as it is about seeing new and exciting things. And our family has had a couple of times where we have just loaded everyone up in the car, said, pack your bags for the night, and our kids are still young enough that just having a pool somewhere is exciting to them. And so we'll just go and get, it's off season, and the hotels are looking for anybody to fill the room. You can get a cheap rate. Just go downtown in your own town and get a hotel room with a pool for the night and let the kids relax. You don't have people, turn off the cell phones. Don't check your email, and just relax with the family and get that rest that is not possible when you're at home and the laundry's calling and the dishes are calling and the neighbor's knocking and the email's sitting there. And I mean, truly, travel is not just about the new experiences. It can be very restful, and it can be a very good thing for your family to do that, even if it means, you don't drive all day and then get the hotel. Just go to one next door,
Absolutely.
But it gets you out of your routine and gives you some time and space to relax and get rested and rejuvenated.
Absolutely. Day 2, travel is good for your health. Absolutely. It really is. True. So, ladies, I am just so excited that we have gone through this, and I have the coolest surprise. So I told you how Katie lives in Mexico, and we met across the miles, and we actually really started to build our friendship while I took a trip to Mexico with our family, and we had 10 other homeschooling leader families that I hosted a trip down to Mexico. But Katie and I have become such good friends on that trip that we blog together, we write stories together, we talk together, we adventure, we Google chat across the continent together, and we do things like show up for blogging conferences all over the place and have just become dear friends and sisters. And it happened from an unexpected place. It happened because we took a vacation together and a holiday. I love to say that Europeans don't vacate. They don't take a vacation. Europeans go on holiday. They set aside time to be holy. And anytime you have with one of your best friends from across the country, there's Katie! I'm surprised she was in the other room, but because of the feedback, we couldn't be on the computers in the same room. So just wanted to wrap it up and say thank you for joining us for our very first Tips and Tricks Word Traveling Hangout. I hope you learned something. I hope you join us. Sign up because we're going to do webinar series. And the next one, we're going to talk about maximizing reward points for free travel. I mean, that's awesome, right? Free travel. We've got another one down the road with missions travel and how you can, believe it or not, see some incredible parts of the world, super affordable, at the same time doing, that going out and living that Great Commission and just seeing the world for the Lord and in incredible ways. And I'm going to have some awesome people talk about us with that. So make sure you sign up. If you don't know Jesus, he is the best adventure. He will give you the best adventure and travel of your lifetime because he was a journeyman, and he said go. So to each of you, Michelle, Kira, thank you so much for coming on and trying
Thank you for having us.
This was fun. I think we should do this without recording them sometimes too, just like coffee, hang out.
Absolutely.
I think we should broadcast live from Wikiwachi, because seriously, who's done that? So that's
I think we should do it. Let's go broadcast live from Wikiwachi. I'm calling him this week.
We're on. We're on.
Do it. Do it. Let's do it. All right, ladies. Love you.
All right.
Bye.
Aloha.
Bye. Good